Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll be making these medieval leather needle cases. And so as you can see, it has this top that you can open. I keep all my needles in here. And then you can close it right up with this drawstring. I made this about 3 months ago and I entered it into a contest on Instructables.com. And it came in second place, so people really seem to like it. And out of all my projects that I've made so far, this has been my most useful and probably my favorite, to be honest. So I thought I'd show you guys how to make it. It's really simple. There's not much to it, and honestly, it's just a really cool thing to have. And with that said, let's begin. Alright, so to start off, we're going to need the design that I created, which can be found in my Instructables. The link will be in the description below. And you want to go ahead and download the PDF and print that out. And you want to make sure that when you print it out, you're using some kind of paper that's a little thicker, like photo paper, maybe cardstock, just something that won't move so easily when you're marking it. And so once you've cut out all the pieces, we're going to place each piece on the leather, and using our needle, we're going to score the leather just to create that mark that we can see to use as a guide for when we cut. And you want to make sure that you don't just mark the perimeter of the leather, you also want to go ahead and poke each hole. And I actually forgot to do this step, but you should also mark the slits for the drawstring. Like I said, I forgot to do it, but I'll go ahead and do it later on. Once we've marked all the pieces, we're going to go ahead and cut them out. And for this, we're going to use a pretty sharp knife because the dull blade leads to the leather being torn and you just won't have that nice clean cut. And what I like to do personally is push hard enough that I can get a solid cut with each pass of the knife, rather than going over several times, because I think if you can cut the leather once, it leads to a cleaner cut rather than going over multiple times. And with everything in this project, you want to make sure you're going slow, take your time, make sure that all the lines are straight, make sure that you're getting those nice 90-degree corners, and just don't rush it. The slower you go, the better it's going to turn out in the end. Alright, so here are all the pieces that we've cut out so far, and what we need to do now is add holes to them like I've already done on this piece and this piece. And to do this, ideally you'd use a leather awl, but if you're like me and don't have one, we're going to take a piece of leather, and using our needle, we're going to push through each hole, just like this. And you want to make sure that the needle you're using is big enough that you can double stitch through each hole, and you also want to be careful that you don't tear the hole, because some of these holes are pretty close to the edge, and you want to make sure that the hole stays intact, that you don't break it. And so, as usual, take your time and everything will turn out fine. Like I said before, I actually forgot to mark the slits and cut them out, so here's me doing that now. And what I'm doing is I'm just marking each edge of the line, and I'm going to freehand the line in between, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out with a knife. And voila, here's all the pieces with the slits, with the holes, and ready to be stitched. Alright, so we're going to be using a double stitch pattern for this. We're going to start in this corner and work our way across. And we're going to see the other side of the double stitch pattern on this side of the circle. And unfortunately, it's a bit hard to stitch and film at the same time, so here's the halfway point. You can see the double stitch pattern on the outside, and you can also see it on the inside, like so. And so to finish this off, we're going to be using alternating X stitch. I don't know the actual name, but that's what I call it. And so we'll be doing X's on all the way down, and then the last stitch will be horizontal straight across like this. And so this is ready to go, everything's tight, it looks good. And so to finish this off, we can just double knot the end, put some rubber cement on it, and cut off the loose ends. So the process for the tube is very similar to the cap. We're going to start in this corner, and using our double stitch, we're going to go around this outside edge. And if you flip this around, you'll see the double stitch also on the inside. Once the circle is completely attached to the base of the outer tube, we're going to go ahead and slide in the inner tube and line up the holes. And we're going to start doing the alternating X stitch up, just like with the cap. And before you do this, you can go ahead and put in the drawstrings now. I find that's a little easier to do it now rather than later, and if you do it now, just make sure that you also put it through the cap as well. Alright, so here's the halfway point, and as you can see, I kept the stitches really loose so that I could have more room to maneuver the needle with, since we have such a small space to work with. And as you can see, we have the alternating X stitches going all the way up, and then at the top the horizontal stitch. And to finish it off, we'll do 2 more X's and 1 more horizontal. And it's still loose right now, so what we need to do now is tighten it. And so we're just going to work our way up, gently pulling the strings and just making it look good. So here's the finished tube. As you can see, it looks really good. It's nice and tight. And now all we need to do is finish it off by double knotting the thread, putting a little bit of rubber cement on it, and cutting off the loose ends. Before I wrap up, I just want to mention that there is a difference between the tops and bottoms of the needle cases from the Instructables in this video. The one on the right is the one from Instructables, and it has the double stitch pattern on the outside of the circle. So if you like that one better, go ahead and check out the tutorial in the description below. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, you can like it, you can share the video, and you can subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to help me out, you can support me on Patreon. You can donate as little as $1 per creation, and over time that will allow me to buy more equipment, more materials, make bigger and better projects, and improve my tutorials for you guys. And regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Until the next one.